Ruth chapter 1. And Elimelech moved his family to Moab. In the day when the judge ruled in Israel, a severe famine came upon the land. So a man from Bethlehem in Judah left his home and went to live in the country of Moab, taking his wife and two sons with him. The man's name was um, Elimelech, and his wife was Naomi. The two sons were Mahlon and Kenan. They were Ephraim from Bethlehem in the land of Judah, and when they reached Moab, they settled there. Then Elimelech died, and Naomi was left with her two sons. The two sons married Moabite women. One married a man named Orpah, and the other a woman named Ruth. But about 10 years later, both Moab and Canaan died. This left Naomi alone without her two sons or her husband. Naomi and Ruth returned. Then Naomi heard in Moabite that the Lord had blessed his people in Judah by giving them good crops again. So Naomi and her daughter-in-law get ready to leave the Moabite to return to her homeland. With her two daughters-in-law, he set out for the place where he had been living, and they took the road that would lead them back to Judah. But on the way, Naomi said to her two daughters-in-law, "Go back to your mother's home, and may the Lord reward you for your kindness to your husband and to me. May the Lord bless you with the security of another marriage." Then she kissed them goodbye, and they all broke down and wept. No, they said, "I want to go with you to your people." But Naomi replied, "Why should you go on with me? Can I still give birth to other sons who could grow up to be your husband? No, my daughters, return to your parents' homes, for I am too old to marry again. And even if it were possible, and I were get married tonight and bear sons, then what? Will you wait for them to grow up and refuse to marry someone else? No, of course not, my daughters. Sins are far more bitter for me than for you, because the Lord himself has raised his fist against me." And again they wept together, and Ephraim kissed her mother-in-law goodbye. But Ruth, clinging tightly to Naomi, "Look," Naomi said to her, "your sister-in-law has gone back to her people and to her gods. You should do the same." But Ruth replied, "Don't ask me to leave you and turn back. Wherever you go, I will go. Whenever you live, I will live. Your people will be my people, and your God will be my God. Wherever you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. May the Lord punish me severely if I allow anything but death to separate us." When Naomi saw that Ruth was determined to go with her, she said nothing more. So the two of them continued on their journey. When they came to Bethlehem, the entire town was excited by the arrival. "It is real, Naomi," the women asked. "Don't call me Naomi," she responded. "Instead, call me Mara, for the mighty had made life very bitter for me. I went all full, but the Lord had brought me home empty. Why call me Naomi when the Lord has caused me to suffer, and the Almighty has sent such tragedy upon me?" So Naomi returned from Moab, accompanied by her daughter-in-law Ruth, the young Moabite woman. They arrived in Bethlehem in late spring at the beginning of the barley harvest. Ruth chapter 2. Ruth worked in Boaz's field. Now there was a wealthy and influential man in Bethlehem named Boaz, who was a relative of Naomi's husband, Elimelech. One day Ruth the Moabite said to Naomi, "Let me go out in the harvest field to pick up the stalk of grain left behind by someone who is kind enough to let me do it." Naomi replied, "All right, my daughter, go ahead." So Ruth went out to gather grain behind the harvester, and as it happened, she found herself working in a field that belongs to Moab. The relative of her father-in-law, Elimelech. While she was there, Boaz arrived from Bethlehem and greeted the harvester. "The Lord be with you," he said. "The Lord bless you," the harvester replied. Then Boaz asked his foreman, "Who is that young woman over there? Who does she belong to?" And the foreman replied, "She is a young woman from Moab who came back with Naomi. She asked me this morning if she could gather grain behind the harvester. She has been hard at work ever since, except for a few minutes rest in the shelter. Boaz went over and said to Ruth, "Listen, my daughter, stay right here with us when you're gathering grain. Don't go to any other field. Stay right behind the young women working in my field. See which part of the field they are harvesting and then follow them. I have warned the young men not to treat you roughly. And when you are thirsty, help yourself to the water they have drawn from the well." Ruth fell at his feet and thanked him warmly. "What have I done to deserve such kindness?" she asked. "I'm only a foreigner." "Yes, I know," Boaz replied, "but I also know about everything you have done for your mother-in-law since the death of your husband. I've heard how you left your father and mother and your own land to live here among completely strangers. May the Lord, the God of Israel, under whose wings you have come to take refuge, reward you fully for what you have done." "I hope I continue to please you, sir," she replied. "You have comforted me by speaking so kind to me, even though I am not one of your workers." At meal time, Boaz called to her, "Come over here and help yourself to some food. You can dip your bread in your sour wine." So she sat with his harvester, and Boaz gave him some roasted grain to eat. She ate all she wanted and still had some left over. When Ruth went back to work again, Boaz ordered his young man, "Let her gather grain right among the sheaves without stopping her, and pull out some head of barley from the bundle and drop them on purpose for her. Let her pick them up and don't give her a hard time." So Ruth gathered barley there all day, and when she beat out the grain that evening, it filled the entire basket. She carried it back in town and showed it to her mother-in-law. Ruth also gave her the roasted grain that was left over from her meal. "Where did you gather all this grain today?" Naomi asked. "Where did you work? May the Lord bless the one who helped you." So Ruth told her mother-in-law about the man in whose field she had worked. She said, "The man I work with today is named Boaz. May the Lord bless him." Naomi told her daughter-in-law, "He's showing his kindness to us as well as to your dead husband. The man is one of our closest relatives, one of our family redeemer." Then Ruth said, "What's more, Boaz even told me to come back and stay with his harvest until the entire harvest is complete." "Good," Naomi exclaimed. "Do as he say, my daughter. Stay with his young women right through the whole harvest. You might be harassed in other field, but you will be safe with him." So Ruth worked alongside the women in Boaz's field and gathered grain with them until the end of the barley harvest. Then she continued working with them through the wheat harvest in early summer, and all while she lived with her mother-in-law. Chapter 3. Ruth at the threshing floor. One day Naomi said to Ruth, "My daughter, it's time that I found a permanent home for you so that you will be provided. Boaz is a close relative of ours, and he has been very kind by letting you gather grain with his young men. Tonight she will be winding barley at the threshing floor. Now do as I told you. Take a bath and put on perfume and dress in your nicest clothes. Then go to the threshing floor, but don't let Boaz see you until he had finished eating and drinking. Be sure to notice where he lied down, then go and uncover his feet and lie down there. He will tell you what to do." "I will do everything you say," Ruth replied. So she went down to the threshing floor that night and followed the instruction of her mother-in-law. After Boaz had finished eating and drinking and was in a good spirit, he lay down at the far end of the pile of grain and went to sleep. Then Ruth came quietly, uncovered his feet, and lay down. Around midnight, Boaz suddenly wake up and turn over. He was surprised to find a woman lay at his feet. "Who are you?" he asked. "I'm your servant Ruth," she replied. "Spare the corner of your cover over me, for you are my family redeemer." "The Lord bless you, my daughter," Boaz exclaimed. "You are showing even more family loyalty now than you did before, for you have not gone after a younger man whether rich or poor. No, don't worry about these things, my daughter. I will do what is necessary, for everyone in town knows you are a virtuous woman. But while it is true that I am one of your family redeemer, there is another man who is more close relative to you than I am. Stay here tonight, and in the morning I will talk to him. If he is willing to redeem you, very well, let him marry you. But if he is not willing, then as sure as the Lord lives, I will redeem you myself. Now lie down here until morning. So Ruth laid at Boaz's feet until the morning, but she got up before it was night enough for people to recognize each other. For Boaz had said, no one must know that a woman was here at the threshing floor. Then Boaz said to her, bring your choke and spread it out. He measured 6 scoops of barley into the choke and placed it on her back. Then he returned to the town. When Ruth went back to her mother-in-law, Naomi asked, what happened, my daughter? Ruth told Naomi everything Boaz had done for her. She added, he gave me these 6 scoops of barley and said, don't go back to your mother-in-law empty-handed. Then Naomi said to her, just be patient, my daughter, until we heard what happened. The man won't rest until she has said it since today. Chapter 4. Boaz married Ruth. Boaz went to the town gate and took a seat there. Just then the family redeemer he had mentioned came by. So Boaz called out to him, come over here and sit down, friends. I want to talk to you. So they sat down together. Then Boaz called 10 leaders from the town and asked them to sit as witness. And Boaz said to the family redeemer, you know Naomi who come back from Moab. She's selling the land that belongs to our relative Elimelech. I thought I should speak to you about it so that you can redeem it if you wish. If you want the land, then buy it here in the presence of this witness. But if you don't want it, let me know right away, because I'm next in line to redeem it after you. The man replied, all right, I will redeem it. Then Boaz told him, of course, your purchase of the land from Naomi also requires that you marry Ruth, the Moabite widow. That way she can have children who will carry it on her husband's name and keep the land in the family. Then I cannot redeem it, the family redeemer replied, because this might endanger my own estate. You redeem the land, I cannot do it. Now in those days, it was the custom in Israel for anyone transfer a right of purchase to remove his sandal and hand it to other party. This public validated the transaction, so the other family redeemer drew off his sandal as he said to Boaz, you buy the land. Then Boaz said to the elder and the crowd standing around, you are witness that today I have bought from Naomi all the property of Elimelech, Chilion, and Mahlon. And with the land I have acquired Ruth, the Moabite widow of Mahlon, to be my wife. This way she can have a son to carry on the family name of her dead husband and to inherit the family property here in his hometown. You are all witnesses today. Then the elder and all the people standing in the gate replied, we are witnesses. May the Lord make this woman who is coming into your home like Rachel and Leah, from whom all the nation of Israel descendants. May you prosper in Ephraim and be famous in Bethlehem. And may the Lord give you descendants by this young woman who will be like those of our ancestor Perez, the son of Tamar, and Judah. The descendants of Boaz. So Boaz took Ruth into his home, and she became his wife. When he slept with her, the Lord enabled her to become pregnant, and she gave birth to a son. Then the women of the town said to Naomi, praise the Lord, who has now provided a redeemer for your family. May these children be famous in Israel. May he restore your youth and care for you in your old age, for he is the son of your daughter-in-law, who loves you and has been better to you than 7 sons. Naomi took the baby and cuddled him to her breast, and she cared for him as if he were her own. The laborers' women said, now at last Naomi has a son again, and they named him Obed. He became the father of Jesse and the grandfather of David. This is the genealogical record of the ancestor Paris. Paris was the father of Hadron. Hadron was the father of Ram. Ram was the father of Aminadab. Aminadab was the father of Nahshon. Nahshon was the father of the Shalom. Shalom was the father of Boaz. Boaz was the father of Obed. Obed was the father of Jesse. Jesse was the father of David. Okay, so that Ruth is a short chapter, and that is talking about David's great grandma story. I think that is how, because David's grandparents is Obed, and Obed is Ruth's son. That's how it happened. It's a story. All right, so that is beginning of the kingdom of Israel. How come? And that is what we learned today's Bible. Hope everybody like it. God bless you, everyone. Let's see you tomorrow.